Welcome back to Dragon Age Origins. We are currently in the city of Orzammar, and we are in the merchant area, but we're going to head on out to the Diamond Quarter to find the people who are speaking for the two ruling classes of Orzammar at the moment, Harrowment and Bhelen. We need to recruit one of them in order to supply us with dwarves to fight the Blight. The Diamond Quarter specifically is actually where the Dwarven Noble will start the game. It'll look a little bit different than this, or a lot different, I suppose. And you actually will not be able to come up here during that time, because at the bottom of the stairs there's a retinue of guards that are awaiting to escort you somewhere. Key to the city. That's a codex, so you can go ahead and read that. The key to the city. It's not a very long one.
The Idukans have held the throne for 370 years. That's long enough.
So he's a Harrowment supporter. Helmy.
You have come at a difficult time. Orzammar is ailing for want of a king.
Curious if that's the sister of the Helmy that we talked to in the merchant area.
Mine is an honorable task, and I shall drown out anyone who claims otherwise.
It's been a while since we saw a Grey Warden. I bet they're avoiding Orzammar because of all the trouble.
So, if you select one of the Dwarven characters to start with, Duncan comes to Orzammar at the beginning of the game instead of to the Circle of Magi, similar to all of the other starting areas. Lady Dace.
This has dragged on too long. It's an insult to King Endrin's memory.
Sure it is. Okay. We walked past this Harrowmont's estate, so we might find Harrowment in here. Bald dwarf, butler.
Welcome to Lord Harrowmont's estate.
This is a big place. Look at this.
I heard there was a Grey Warden here. I am Dulin Forrender, second to Lord Harrowment, King Endrin's own choice as successor. Word is spreading that the surface may suffer a blight. It is shameful we are not in a better position to help.
Well, I have a treaty obliging Orzammar to help, so...
That may be, and that is a terrible risk for the surface. But even if the world would end tomorrow, Lord Harrowment cannot ignore Bhelen today. He cannot afford to trust anyone of unproven loyalties.
Now stop playing games. This treaty compels you to help.
You're asking the King of Orzammar to send armies to the surface, but Orzammar has no king and we have no army. Right now, the men who should be fighting Darkspawn are brawling in the street. If this situation is not resolved, we face civil war. If you want Lord Harrowmont's time now, you'll have to prove you have no intention of turning against him later.
And what do you want me to do? Denounce Bhelen publicly?
If you wish to show you have no loyalty to Bhelen, then work against him in Harrowmont's name. Bhelen is hosting a proving today, supposedly to honor his father's memory. The Deshers take it very seriously, and unfortunately, Bhelen found some way to blackmail or intimidate House Harrowmont's best fighters into stepping down.
What are you getting at? Why would your assembly care who wins some tournament?
The proving is a contest of the best warriors in Orzammar. By fighting, they show who has the ancestors' favor. If you were to enter the proving as Lord Harrowmont's champion, it would prove your loyalty beyond a doubt. Bhelen would never work with anyone who humiliated him in that way. Harrowment would have no fear of meeting with you then.
So you can outright refuse, You can decide, hey, well, maybe I'll come back later, though. Or you can just tell him, sure, why not? Essentially. Sure. I'll totally enter the proving and see why the others withdrew.
Excellent. The arena is located off the Commons. Talk to the Proving Master and tell him you're entering Lord Harrowmont's roster. The key fighters we lost were Guidon and Beisel. You can look for them in the fighters' preparation chambers behind the ring. And be sure it's before the fights begin. After the first bout, no one may change the roster. If you need to find me again, I will wait in the Tapster's Tavern off the Commons. There is no better place to hear gossip. Perhaps even word of your victory.
Alright, so he's gonna go to the bar and wait for us there, expecting us to go and fight in the proving for this Harrowmont fella who's refusing to see us in person until we've proved ourselves. Okay. Anything else to see in here? Just this one room, I suppose. Oh, I can't switch back to Zevran. I forgot that I had Shale out. That's my fault. What was that? There was something here. Oh, maybe it was one of my companions. I thought it'd be... Okay. Yeah, it was just one of the companions. You know, maybe Leliana would want to see this place, and we could ask Leliana to tell us a story about it. We'll see when we go outside. Yeah, we can switch now that we're in the Diamond Quarter. Bye, Shale. Alright.
Indeed.
Come on, Liliana.
News of the hour!
Let's talk with Liliana.
I have heard much about the halls of the Dwarven Kings, but the stories do it no justice. It is so strange, harsh, yet beautiful.
I don't really like being in caves. It's unsafe.
The dwarves have lived here for thousands of years. I'm sure it is perfectly safe. And have you seen those tiny pig-like burrowing animals? They are adorable. I wish I could have one as a pet. But they must be hard to catch and... Oh, just ignore me. I'm so silly sometimes. Let's just go.
So that is an important bit of dialogue. It hints at something. I'm not going to say what, but I think you can put two and two together. So we'll keep Liliana with us for a bit of a time. Oh, this is the lady that we talked to earlier.
I hope you'll support Lord Harrowmont.
She's one of the Helmies, but for whatever reason it doesn't say Narav Helmi. It just says Narav.
Lord Harrowmont, said to have kicked Castless in the street. Does he respect none beneath his station?
What? So he's just accusing Harrowmont of
how is it the
kicking
dwarves
beggars?
King? I thought they voted on everything, or something like that.
Oh, no one has anything to say to that. Okay. Well, what he's referring to is the fact that there's an assembly and a king. The assembly is basically a big group of noble dwarves that make all the decisions in Orzammar, including who the next king is going to be and all that. Now, there is a king, however, the king acts more like a president does, and the assembly acts a lot like... what's the word? Senate. Yeah, like a senate. So, let's go into the royal palace. Might see Harrowmont. Or not Harrowmont, Bhelen. We already talked with Harrowmont's dude. Rail guards.
Greetings.
Nothing to say, eh? Okay. Anything
We're
to
honored
say?
to have you here.
Of course not. Might be able to go through there. I'm not gonna do it right now. I'm gonna go in here first.
Of course.
Nothing in here. What the heck?
Approach.
That's interesting.
Oh no, you don't! Oh,
Alright, battle it is then.
let's grab some glory! Ha! Oh,
Defend yourself.
oh, time to taste.
I have beaten one.
A bit more dying, please.
Yes.
Not bad. Alistair barely took any damage, and the damage he did take was entirely from me sapping his health. So, yeah.
Thanks again, Warden.
You're welcome.
Very well.
I wonder if Leliana can actually open this. She can! Oh, look at that! Good job, Leliana. Codex updated. Correspondence. Okay, so all these star bits are like noting where there's a passage of time, or like a different letter, or something like that. Sari, Ugold, Mary. Okay.
As you say. Yes.
Just checking the bookshelves. This is the throne. No king, so no one's sitting there. The hall is completely empty.
Of course.
And we're back where we started. Can we go in here?
The Prince values your support, Warden.
I guess not.
No one enters the prince's estate without an invitation.
Alright, so Bhelen is in there, but we can't go talk to him, and we haven't found his representative yet, so let's continue our journey through the Diamond Quarter. Who's that? No one? Okay. Just a random noble. I really like the architecture here. The dwarven architecture is great, in my opinion. Chamber of the Assembly. Oh, who's this? Vartag.
Warden, welcome. It is always a blessing for Orzammar to host your order. I am Vartag Devorn, top advisor to our good Prince Bhelen. What news do you bring?
I need aid against a blight.
Yes, the treaty. I've seen it in the Shaper's libraries. Now the difficulty is that the treaty only compels our king, and we are sadly lacking one of those right now.
Can I talk to Bhelen?
You must understand, Harrowment hides behind his good reputation while sending spies and assassins. Bhelen can't know who to trust. It's been like a knife in the heart for Bhelen to see so many of his father's men stand with the usurper.
Well, I thought King Ender himself supported Harrowment.
That hurts worst of all. That Harrowment, would take advantage of the dying king's delirium to plant such poisonous suspicions against his own son. After that, you understand why Bhelen cannot trust the word of a stranger, however reputable that stranger might be.
Well, I promise I am no spy.
Would you be willing to prove that? Harrowment has engaged in a campaign of bribery and coercion to ensure that every house serves him. But if a neutral party, a stranger, were to approach certain key members, perhaps with irrefutable evidence of Harrowment's deception, I'm certain my Lord Prince would show his gratitude.
Oh, what kind of evidence?
Harrowment promised the same portion of his estate to two different Deshers, Lady Dace and Lord Helmy.
Oh.
Harrowment can't possibly grant it to both of them, but they won't find out until after the vote is cast.
The
I
dirty
have copies
snake.
of the promissory notes Harrowment gave each of them. Once they see those, they should both reconsider their votes.
I should imagine so. Huh. Where did you get the promissory notes?
That's not important. If they ask, say you found them while searching the Shaper's libraries for your treaty.
Well, that's suspicious. Isn't there anyone that you could report them to?
Normally, the Shapers would handle this sort of accusation. They are the scholars who manage our laws, histories, and genealogies. They are the final arbiters of all disputes in Orzammar. Unfortunately, the Shaper of Memories is the most important among them, and his grandfather was Lord Harrowmont's aunt's first cousin. Obviously, we cannot expect him to offer an unbiased opinion.
Indeed. He'd hold a distant relative over his duty.
I guess I can't expect you surfacers to understand the importance of family in Orzammar. The Shaper is biased, and if you want Prince Bhelen's help, you'll have to show where your loyalties lie. Will you do it?
Alright, I'll find Lady Dace and Lord Helmy right now.
Lady Dace doesn't leave the quarter much, but Lord Helmy's adventurous, likes to spend his time at tapsters in the Commons. Remember, don't tell them you got these papers from me. You learned of them and drew your own conclusions.
Indeed. That sounds a little bit suspicious.
The assembly is in session. Enter quietly if you wish to observe.
Sure. Let's go in.
Your mind has gone to dust if you think we would pass such a writ. Half our houses would go broke without the service trade.
The proposal is only effective until we have a king to ensure we are respected by the surfacers.
Leaving you conveniently positioned to take over all contracts. I'll see your head on a pike first.
Deshers, lords and ladies of the assembly, I've already doubled the guard to prevent violence. Must I summon more?
Steward Bandalore, Bhelen's sympathizers are tying our hands with trivialities. They may as well open us to the sky.
I suggest we put the matter to a vote.
And I suggest you have a taste of my family's mace.
Enough!
Holy.
The assembly is in recess until the members can regain control of their emotions.
That one guy wanted to escalate things quite a bit. What was that about, Mr. Assembly Steward Bandalore?
Stone-forsaken fools and dusters. I'm sorry. This is the assembly of the clans. Only Deshers and occasional guests of state are allowed in.
No, I'm just observing. Pay me no mind.
Oh, Stone. You must be the Grey Warden. I completely forgot about the Gate Guard's message. Welcome to Orzammar, Warden. I hope you can forgive our unrest. The loss of our king has hit us hard. Respect for your role is great, but you won't receive a proper hearing until we have a king on the throne.
But a blade is coming.
Troubling, but it will still seem distant compared to the empty throne. The assembly is blind to all else.
Now, understandably, you might be thinking, wow, the dwarves are self-centered pieces, because they care more about who sits on their throne than about the Darkspawn attacking the surface. However, you also have to keep in mind that the city of Orzammar, where the dwarves live, is constantly under attack year-round, all the time, regardless of whether there's a blight or not, by a darkspawn. So the darkspawn are a threat to the dwarves every day, consistently, throughout their entire lived experiences. Whereas on the surface, that only becomes the case during a blight. So during a blight is the only time that people who live on the surface have to experience the darkspawn threat in the same way that dwarves do on a daily basis. So that might be a little bit of why they don't consider it as much of a big deal that there's a blight going on the surface as compared to the civil war they're experiencing currently, because a civil war could weaken their city drastically and make them vulnerable to the darkspawn. Unfortunately, there's also a civil war type situation happening on the surface because of Logain. So we got like 2 civil wars going on here. Is there any way I can break the stalemate?
I must admit, Warden, I am at a loss myself. It lies with Prince Bhelen or Lord Harrowment, and they are slow to trust anyone in these uncertain times. I only wish there was more I could do for you.
Yeah, me too. Oh well. Nothing more to see here. Now what else is left to see? The Shaperate.
Thief! Who would dare take from the memories? Warden, I'm outraged. A thief in the Shaperate. What have we been reduced to?
You tell me. Did you get a good look at him?
I did. He was bald, with the most garish brand across his head. Almost like he took pride in being castless. Imagine. He's probably in the slums somewhere. As if he'd find a buyer for a stolen tome in Dusttown. They couldn't know the value.
So we have not been to the slums yet, but we can certainly go there.
Perhaps you should stand over there instead.
Indeed. Okay. He's quite absorbed by his work. Shaperate.
Are you looking for records of the Grey Wardens?
No, I'm not. I'll talk to you in a bit. I saw a quest. Orta.
Oh, pardon me. Were you looking for a particular volume? Not that I could really help. I don't know the libraries very well. I'm just doing some research.
Oh, what kind of research?
I was looking for something about the Orton Tig. It was lost during the last blight, and there aren't many records left. They were a noble house once, descended from the Paragon Orton, who composed the grand epic of the Seven Brothers and the Ortonic Symphony. My mother's family believes they were descended from Kalana Orton, who was training in Orzammar when the Tig fell. I'm even named for the house, Orta. Unfortunately, any records would be buried in the Tig's ruins, somewhere in the deep roads.
No, I could look in return for that Orton wealth.
You're from the surface. What do you know about fighting Darkspawn? There aren't even any expeditions planned until they settle this election. Otherwise, you need special permission from the Assembly or some great lord.
Do you want my help or not?
I hear Prince Bhelen and Lord Harrowment have both been sending out small teams these days. Yes, if you can find the Tig in any records, that could do it. That could prove I'm a noble. If you could. Maybe now that you're looking. It's almost too much to hope.
Alright. We kind of accepted that. That was a little bit of a contentious talk there. Legion of Steel. There you go. More Dwarven lore. Talk with that guy in a minute. Still want to explore this place a bit. Another book. It's a codex. Orzammar Politics. That might be a good read if you don't know much about Orzammar.
Very well.
More codex. more about Orzammar, specifically about the Shapers.
As you say.
Traditional folk songs, that one could be interesting. It's about nugs. Gloves of Diligence. Interesting. That's a lot of armor for a glove. 6 armor. Impressive. Okay, it looks like we may have gotten almost everything. Just need to get this one book. Explanation of Legion of the Dead. So this is a big one. I want to read that to get more about the Legion of the Dead, since they're talked about quite frequently within Orzammar and when talking about Orzammar. So we'll talk with this guy now.
When I last walked this hall, Endrin was king and Orzammar was at peace. The memories often speak of the swiftness with which change overtakes us. But it is different to see it firsthand. I apologize, Warden. I should not burden a stranger with such thoughts. I am Zebor, the Shaper of Memories.
It's an interesting name. How do you know who I am?
The Grey Warden's visit has been recorded in the memories, along with all who accompany you.
Okay. Could you look at these promissory papers for me? These are the ones that we got from Vartag.
These are Harrowment lands promised here. But these are not the deals we approved at the Shaperate. Where did you get these?
Vartag Gavorn.
And he scripted these counterfeits? This is a serious crime. I will have the Ministry of Lands begin an investigation into the Gavorns immediately.
So the papers are forged?
Not entirely. There were 2 promised deals, but their terms differed significantly from what is presented here. It appears the scripter altered the dates and locations of the agreements to make them identical.
Can you tell me anything about Prince Bhelen?
The prince consulted me before his father died. He wanted to know about King Bimo, the last king to rule during a blight. I told him Bimo made many changes during his rule. The assembly was even disbanded for a 2-year period. Bimo declared that, in times of war, the warrior caste answered directly to the king and all voting was suspended. Bhelen seemed quite interested.
Well, considering you're on the verge of a civil war, I imagine he would be quite interested. Because that gives the king a lot of power. It actually sounds a lot like something the United States has that was passed under George W. Bush, where the president can invoke emergency power to the office of the president so that he can basically do more than he's normally supposed to be able to get away with. But it's under times of war. So, what do you know about Vartag Gavorn?
The Gavorn family is a minor one, founded when a daughter of the Ferender house married down to a warrior caste man. Her brother died, leaving her family heirless. So the assembly granted him a new family name and allowed him to adopt his daughter's children as heirs. Vartag Gavorn is on record asking the assembly to bar Harrowment from King Endrin's sick room. He is a vocal supporter of Prince Bhelen.
And is it true that you're related to a Harrowment?
He is a kinsman, yes. If you count to the 6th degree of remove, I am related to every noble lineage still represented in Orzammar. I can even trace my descendant directly to House Sigmund, which lost its tide to the Darkspawn 13 generations ago.
Alright. Do you get to vote on the next king?
The Shaperate do not vote. We simply record history as it happens.
Fair enough. Do you have a preference?
I cannot speak my opinions. History can be changed with a careless word.
So he does have opinions, but he's not allowed to discuss it, or he won't discuss it because he feels it could impede his duties, essentially. As Shaper, he's not supposed to be involved in politics. I need to have words with someone.
You are an outsider, Warden, but not outside the law. I hope you will not do anything to challenge the stability of Orzammar.
No, that'd be pretty hard, considering the state of Orzammar at the moment. Onwards. We should probably go talk with Vartag again, because he gave us some counterfeit papers. No, he wasn't here when we talked to him last, so he might still be in here. Yeah, he's right here. Okay.
Well, have you found Lady Dace and Lord Helmy?
No. I talked to the Shaper of Memories. These papers are forged.
Forged? Well, naturally they're forged. There is no legal way for Harrowment to sell the same land twice over, is there?
Indeed. Tell me where you really got these.
You want to know how the game is played? I wrote the papers and left a sizable fee with the registry office to back them. But if you think figuring it out gets you off the line, you don't understand how this works. I'm asking for a show of loyalty, so exactly how much truth is involved shouldn't matter in the slightest. Now, where does your allegiance lie, Warden?
See, that entirely depends on your sense of honor. So right now, he's basically saying anything... He'll do anything it takes to win. That's the perspective that we're getting from Bhelen's side. Well, I serve myself.
If you cannot support my prince, do not expect him to serve you. If you change your mind, you know what you must do to earn his indulgence.
Yeah, I do. We don't need to talk to him to say that. We can just do it, because we already have the quest, so... we need to find Lady Helmy, I think it was? And, someone else. I'll recognize them when their names
News
pop
of the
up.
hour. Lord Harrowment entrenched in the past. How long?
Oh. Lady Dace, that was the one.
What do you want? Ah, I suppose you're the Grey Warden everyone's talking about.
Yes, I'm Elia.
It's fascinating the surface has an entire order dedicated to fighting darkspawn. Down here, that's just what fighting means. But I'm sure it's more difficult on the surface. It must be much harder to find them.
To find the Darkspawn? Yeah. She's not wrong. Harrowment is trying to cheat you.
An interesting accusation. But to cheat me, wouldn't Harrowment and I need to be in business?
He promised the same land to both you and Lord Helmy.
That's ridiculous. Harrowment would never make so obvious a mistake. What evidence do you have?
I have promissory notes right here.
Where did you get these? Never mind. It is true enough, but there's nothing I can do about it. This deal was made on behalf of our entire house. Only my father can revoke it.
Where is he? I'll bring these to him.
He is leading a deep roads expedition, trying to secure an ancient Tig. It's unlikely he'll be back before the election, but perhaps this vote is important enough for you to brave the tunnels to tell him? The Dace family would be in your debt.
How would I know where to find him?
He was searching an old Idukan site. He left me with this map, in case his expedition never returned. I'll give you a pass as well. Usually, no one is allowed past the front lines. Does that mean you'll go?
Yeah, I'll leave right now.
So Bhelen's victory means enough for you to risk your life. How interesting.
News of the hour! 3 more clans endorse Lord Harrowment as the true voice of the Dwarven folk.
Helmy.
You have come at a difficult time. Orzammar is ailing.
2 years tomorrow. By all the holy sodding ancestors,
How can you people just ignore that?
Branka didn't go alone, Ogren. She took the whole house, everybody but you. So just get over to Tapster's and drown yourself already. You know as well as I do that's how this always ends.
You think I'm afraid of some cub warrior who's barely off the teat? Ha!
You lift a weapon or attack a single citizen in Orzammar, and you're stripped of your caste and exiled. Even you can't have forgotten that. Get out of here before I call a guardsman. Can you believe it? Ogren's barely even warrior caste anymore, and he just clomps in here like he's entitled.
Who is Ogren?
Ogren's a drunken wretch. He comes up here 2-3 times a week, hounding people to lead some suicidal rescue mission after Branka. Gets quite violent about it. I'd be scared if they hadn't practically gelded him after he killed young Lord Mino.
And who's Branka?
The only paragon in the last 4 generations. Quite an honor for a girl from the Smith caste.
Why did Branka go into the deep roads?
Chasing some old treasure. She was quite secretive. Outright rude, really. She said she never asked if found a house, that she didn't care about politics, and that we were too self-absorbed to defeat the Darkspawn. She actually threatened anyone who said they'd come after her.
That's kind of great. How did she become a paragon?
She invented a smokeless fuel that let the Smith caste increase their output by nearly 1/3. Deaths from the Black Lung also dropped. The Assembly said she had the favor of the ancestors and declared her a paragon. They moved Branka, Ogren, and all their relatives to the noble caste and founded a new house in her name.
So, an equivalent to what she did, essentially, would be like creating a form of gasoline that doesn't create any carbon dioxide. Yeah, basically. So that'd be probably valuable, depending on what it produced in place of carbon dioxide. Alright, so Branka was married to the drunk.
Well, before she was a paragon, she was just a smith, and Ogren was one of the best warriors of his generation.
Is that what you two were arguing about, Branka?
It's been 2 years since Branka left. No one has ever stayed in the deep roads that long and survived. The search teams who went out found nothing, but Ogren wants to keep risking lives searching.
So, in other words, Branka has been inside the deep roads since before the game, like this game even started, including all of the origins. None of the origins took place before Branka left. So Branka was already gone for quite some time. Why does Ogren care so much about Branka? We already kind of know that because he was married to her, so... I should leave before you start complaining about me too.
If you see any guardsmen, tell them Ogren was at it again.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm not gonna do that though. There's a guardsman right there, you could tell him yourself. But of course you won't. A major staff is a curious weapon. Yeah. It's fine. Actually, before I get too carried away, maybe I should end the video here. Or... yeah, maybe let's go see what's going on over here, and then we'll end after that.
So, I've been hearing rumors that a certain wine merchant is falling behind on his payments.
I can't imagine what you mean. I pay my expenses.
What about the expenses your good friend Jarvia incurs when providing your protection? It's not easy ensuring nothing bad happens, that no one decides to just burn everything in your store.
My store! Please, I don't have much. Business isn't good. People are scared.
Tell Jarvia I'll get her money.
Jarvia is not happy with your promises, old man. Now let's go inside and see what you've been holding back.
Roger and Figor.
This is all I have right now. I could get more if I sell something.
Well, well. Looks like we have a visitor. Friend of yours?
Is there a problem here, friend? Are these men threatening you?
Please, don't get involved with this. You don't know what they're like.
Then allow me to make some introductions. These are dangerous times in Orzammar, stranger. Lucky us, the merciful Jarvia is offering protection from the chaos. You're wearing some fancy stuff there. Might make you a target. So if you want the Carta's guarantee of safety, it's yours for the reasonable price of 10 gold sovereigns. Or I can't say what might happen.
Well, that sounded like a threat.
Are you going to make your donation to the Stranger Safety Fund? Or do I have to show you how dangerous Orzammar is?
Show me.
Whatever you say, lady.
Okay. We'll put that on that one. And put a bomb on that one too.
Make a preserve us. You have forced my hand. Is that all you got?
What have you done? Great ancestors, he's dead! In my store. I have to get out of here. I have to hide. Jarvia will hunt me down for this.
What do you know about this Jarvia?
I've never met her, of course. They say she never leaves Dusttown. That's the older area of the city where the casteless congregate. She's the one directing this depravity. Since good King Endrin died, they're getting bolder. I wouldn't be surprised if her men come after me in the Diamond Quarter itself.
What do you know about her Carta?
A band of casteless thugs. They're to blame for all the crime in Orzammar these days. They're criminals, and the children of criminals. The ancestors themselves declared them irredeemable.
So you actually get to meet Jarvia if you play one of the Dwarven Commoner origin. And you'll learn a lot more about her and the Carta here in Orzammar through that origin story. But you can learn a lot about the Carta just playing the game regularly as well. In other games, you learn a lot more about the Carta. So, the Carta is like a big thing in the Dragon Age series, particularly with the dwarves. So, it's like their big crime syndicate, essentially. So the children as well, you go that far.
Their births are abominations. They were born from no Kalna, with no acknowledgement by the Shapers. They are destined to be criminals. Actually, we shouldn't be talking here. I need to run.
Okay. Right. Okay, let's just end the video here, and we'll explore the other half of the city next time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, remember to give it a subscribe and a like, and I'll see you next time. Bye.